Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a slasher film, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a documentary about a scary killer wearing a human face as a mask called Leatherface, who attacks 5 young people in Texas during the summer of the year 1973. Leatherface murders the 4 young people in a gruesome fashion, using a variety of tools such as a chainsaw. Meanwhile, a woman, Sally, is the sole survivor of Leatherface's killing spree, so she ends up telling the police the horrifying massacre committed by Leatherface. The crime gets tagged as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which remains as one of the infamous unsolved murder cases. In the present day, a teenager, Leila, is buying snacks and a chainsaw bottle opener in a small store in Texas, while her sister, Melody, is waiting in their luxury car outside. Leila sees a newspaper about Sally's survival from Leatherface, so she asks the store owner about Sally. The store owner then replies that Sally becomes a ranger, spending her life to find Leatherface, so she can have her revenge on him. But until now, Sally fails to find him, because she is still clueless about Leatherface's real face. Melody comes inside to pick up Leila, because they are about to leave. They are heading to an almost abandoned town in Texas with their friend, a famous YouTuber, and his girlfriend. Apparently, Melody and YouTuber team up together to buy the abandoned town and develop it, so people who wish to leave the chaotic city can have a peaceful life in their soon-to-be developed town. Along the way, Leila checks her social media account, and her feed is full of anti-gun violence movements. It turns out that she is a survivor of a recent school shooting incident, and her trauma from the shooting is still apparent to her. Meanwhile, YouTubers vlog about the town blows up, since there are many people who are interested in moving to the town. As they arrive at the town border, the sheriff and his deputies stop them for checking. The sheriff immediately recognizes them as the developers, since the news about their plans on the town is well known in the area. The sheriff reminds them to be respectful of the town and allows them to enter. Before they enter, Melody replies that they will respect the town, since her grandmother also lives near the area. Soon after, they arrive at the abandoned town, and they begin to wander the area while talking about their plans for the town. Melody tries to convince Leila to live there together with her, so Leila can move on from the trauma. But Leila refuses since it is too far away from their former home. The Texas man walks out of his garage. Apparently, YouTuber instructs the Texas man to fix the building's appearance since they will sell the buildings to the potential investors who are coming later. Suddenly, they see a Confederate flag hanging which alarms them since the flag is against their views. So they come inside the orphanage building to remove the flag. To their surprise, there is still a sick grandma who is residing inside the building. They then inform the grandma that the building is already reclaimed by the bank. But the grandma, who turns out to be the orphanage caretaker, insists that it is her property since the bank issue is already settled. YouTuber refuses to believe the grandma, so he calls the sheriff to take her away. The sheriff soon arrives to get her. As she argues that it is her property, her sickness worsens, and she begins having difficulty breathing. The worried large man, who is her last remaining orphan, comes down to help the sheriff bring her to the hospital. Melody also wants to accompany them to the hospital, but the investors arrive in a bus, so she needs to welcome the investors. YouTuber's girlfriend decides to join them, bringing the grandma to the hospital. Along the way, the grandma suddenly dies, while reminding that her large man orphan is a good boy. The large man tries to revive her, but to no avail. Her death suddenly enraged the large man, so he breaks the deputy's skinny arm, and he uses the deputy's bone to repeatedly stab his throat. The deputy tries to fight back with his gun, but he accidentally shoots the driving sheriff, who remains unaware of the commotion until that point. In the end, the deputy bleeds to death, and the car crashes after the sheriff passes out, leaving the girlfriend unconscious. Back to the town, Leila is having a friendly conversation with the Texas man when she tries to use his gun, reminding her of the traumatic school shooting incident she experienced. Melody receives a text message from the girlfriend indicating that the grandma died. She then feels guilty, thinking that they are responsible for triggering her heart attack. So she decides to get her sister and leave the town. Upon learning that the grandma died, the Texas man gets their vehicle key and disallows them to leave until they can prove that they truly own the orphanage building. YouTuber then tries to look for the deed of sale of the building in the file case, but they cannot find it, making them doubt if they had already bought it. In the middle of the field, the large man is busy removing the grandma's face and proceeds to wear it. It is then revealed that the large man is Leatherface we saw at the beginning of the film. In the middle of the field, the girlfriend uses the radio to seek help, but the radio signal reaches only the store owner. Leatherface approaches the car, forcing the girlfriend to play dead. He notices that the sheriff is still alive, so he repeatedly smashes the sheriff's head. He soon finds out that she is still alive, and he chokes her, while slowly slicing her stomach until she dies. After his killing spree, Leatherface slowly marches to the town to seek vengeance on the investors who disturbed their peaceful life. After hearing the girlfriend's report, the store owner informs Ranger Sally that Leatherface is back. Sally then prepares to hunt Leatherface to get her own vengeance. Back to the town, Melody and Universe search for the building's title through the grandma's possession, so they can figure out if the grandma really owns it. Melody heads upstairs and soon finds the title, proving grandma owns the building. Downstairs, Leatherface arrives and immediately slices Universe's face, making him fall to the ground while bleeding. Melody peeks downstairs and sees Leatherface in front of Universe's gruesome condition, so she immediately hides in the cabinet in the room. Leatherface soon comes to the room and grieves for grandma's death. He suddenly notices that the investors are happily partying outside, making him come out of the room in anger. Melody then walks out of the cabinet to seek help in the window, but the investors fail to see her. She hears Leatherface slowly walking back to the room, forcing her to hide again. Leatherface uses the hammer to destroy the wall, revealing the hidden chainsaw that he plans to use to massacre the shitty investors. Meanwhile, the bleeding YouTuber wakes up and walks outside in the rain to seek help. The Texas man and his friend notice him and are surprised to see his mutilated face. As the Texas man asks who sliced his face, he suddenly dies. So the Texas man prepares his gun, while YouTuber's friend goes back to their bus and locks its door. Inside the building, Leatherface hears the Texas man is coming, so Leatherface prepares to ambush him. As he walks inside the room, Leatherface comes out and tries to hammer him. He then defends himself and proceeds to fight Leatherface. Unfortunately, Leatherface is able to hammer his leg, leaving him injured. He still gathers his strength to fight back, but Leatherface is able to push him to the glass shard. He then falls to the ground while slowly bleeding. As he is slowly dying, he tries to hand over the vehicle key to the hiding Melody. Leatherface notices he is still moving, so Leatherface repeatedly smashes his head until it goes completely out of shape. Meanwhile, Sally arrives at the car murder scene, where she finds dead bodies and Grandma's creepy monument created by Leatherface. She then heads to the town to find Leatherface. Back to the building, Melody grabs the key and sneaks out of the room, thinking that Leatherface is already gone. As she walks downstairs, Leatherface suddenly notices her and throws the hammer at her, making her fly under the ground floor. After that, Leatherface chases her with the chainsaw while she frantically crawls to avoid it. Luckily, Leela arrives and opens up the vent, allowing her to escape from the building. They then run back to the bus, where the unaware investors are happily partying. Their friend notices that Leatherface is coming, so she alerts the driver to drive away. Unfortunately, Leatherface is able to slash their tire, which stops their bus. The driver walks out to check, and Leatherface cuts his head off in an instant. After that, Leatherface walks inside the party, but the investors remain unaware and begin to broadcast live footage of Leatherface, thinking that it would prevent Leatherface from committing a crime. One of the investors threatens Leatherface that he will be canceled if he tries to commit crime. Leatherface still begins to cut the investors' bodies one after the other using the chainsaw. Meanwhile, live broadcast viewers think that the massacre is only a prank, and they want to go on the bus because it looks fun. The investors try their best to avoid Leatherface's chainsaw, but they are completely trapped in the bus. The remaining investors scream in terror as they watch a gruesome scene where bodies are getting cut off while blood is splattering around. The last investor manages to finally open the window, but she still ends up getting cut in half. As Leatherface has already massacred everyone, he proceeds to find the two sisters hiding in the bathroom. Luckily, they manage to find an escape out in the ceiling window. Leela comes out first, leaving Melody alone inside the bus. As Leatherface is approaching Melody, she stabs his hands with the bottle opener, which pushes him away briefly, allowing her to escape. Leela and Melody proceed to run away from the bus, and they see Sally in the car, who has just arrived in the town. They then go inside her, making them feel safe. However, Sally wants to take vengeance against Leatherface instead of escaping away. She then locks the two sisters in the car and proceeds to confront Leatherface inside the building. As she finally finds Leatherface, she points the shotgun at him and asks if he can remember her. But Leatherface ignores her and casually walks away to find the sisters. Sally is completely stunned upon knowing that Leatherface seemingly cannot remember his victims. Shortly after, Leatherface arrives in the car and attempts to cut Leela's feet. Fortunately, Sally arrives and shoots at him, hitting him in the shoulder, so he runs away. Sally gives the car key to the sisters, so they can escape while she proceeds to find Leatherface. Suddenly, Leatherface appears out of nowhere and charges towards her with a chainsaw. She avoids his attack, but he is able to hold her gun. In response, she points the gun to his head and attempts to shoot him. However, she is out of bullets, so she stabs him instead. Leatherface then stabs her in the stomach using the chainsaw. He then throws her weakened body away. Meanwhile, Melody drives the car, and instead of escaping, she attempts to hit Leatherface. In response, Leatherface throws the chainsaw at them, and he barely avoids the car. The car then ends up crashing. But unfortunately, Melody gets impaled, trapping her in the car. So she instructs Leela to leave her as Leatherface approaches them. Leela then runs away, leaving Melody alone. Leatherface arrives in the car and activates his chainsaw. Leela suddenly comes back with the Texas man's gun and attempts to shoot at Leatherface, but she doesn't know how to use it. Leatherface then chases her first until he catches her in the middle of the road. Fortunately, the dying Sally puts a bullet in her shotgun and shoots at Leatherface, making him retreat to the abandoned theater. With her dying strength, Sally puts another bullet to the shotgun and advises Leela not to run, since Leatherface's terror would forever haunt her. Sally then hands over the shotgun right before she dies. Leela confronts her feeder and picks up the shotgun to hunt Leatherface inside the theater. As she comes inside the theater, Leatherface suddenly comes out of nowhere and pushes her to the pool in an attempt to drown her. Luckily, she manages to escape after a few moments. However, as she walks out of the pool, Leatherface drags her back. As Leatherface gets his chainsaw, she tries to get the shotgun, but to no avail. At this moment, she is in a near-death moment, which reminds her of her trauma in the school shooting incident. Suddenly, Melody, who somehow manages to escape from the impalement, arrives to prevent Leatherface from cutting Leela. Leatherface then puts his attention on Melody and attempts to cut her with the chainsaw. Leela manages to get the shotgun and shoots at Leatherface several times. Strangely enough, Leatherface remains unmoved by the bullets, possibly because of his thick, bulletproof skin. Melody picks up the chainsaw and hits him in the chin, making him fall to the pool. They then observe Leatherface and see that he is seemingly drowning in the pool, so they finally feel relief. After that, they happily ride their luxury car, thinking that they finally survived the massacre. They then activate the car's self-driving mode, and the car begins to move away. However, Leatherface turns out to survive from drowning in the pool. Suddenly, he appears out of nowhere and grabs Melody out of the car, leaving Leela alone in the self-driving car. Leela then watches a gruesome scene where Leatherface cuts Melody's head. After that, Leatherface performs his victory dance and throws the chainsaw at Leela, possibly hitting her head. In the end, Leatherface walks back to his family's house in the middle of a grassy field to finally get a rest after a tiring massacre day. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.